We were able to do his talk remotely. At last year's Extravaganza, the online one, he won the Jim Smith Award grant for a project involving the Correntes River in his native Brazil. Since many of you contributed to the Jim Smith Fund in various ways, we want you to know about these activities. So that project is his main topic. This presentation is sponsored by the All Aquarium Catfish Convention and the Potomac Valley Aquarium Society, and by the Madison Area Aquatic Hobbyists. Live from Brazil, here's internationally recognized catfish specialist, Luiz Tencatt.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm really sorry I could not pay a visit with my physical body, but the situation here in Brazil is quite complicated right now, and I would have to stay about 20 days away from my family when I return. So this is something quite complicated right now because we have a small baby. So I hope you all understand this peculiar situation, and I really hope you enjoy this presentation today, because this project in the Rio Correntes is I have been collecting there for 3 years, but after the OCA funds, we were able to double the points we were visiting, and now we have the double of species recorded for this basin. So I really appreciate all the help and for trusting my work, and I really hope you like this presentation today. I don't know if you can see my screen. Oh, yes. So can you see the presentation?
Yeah. Yep, it's
Great.
full screen.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, to be honest, because I can only see my presentation, but that's I guess you can see, you'll be able to see the photographs in a pretty good resolution there. So this is about a very special river in Brazil, in the upper Rio Paraguay basin, the Rio Correntes. So here we have South America, as you know, and this is the place where I am focusing my collecting trips, the Rio Paraguay basin, most precisely the upper portion of the Rio Paraguay basin. So this is the area you can see here. I am living in a small state in central Brazil, exactly in this red star here, just to locate you. So the river in question is marked in red right here. It's a quite small river, to be honest, but it presents a very peculiar feature. In this mark, we have a sinkhole, which is a very, very interesting place where the river starts to run underground in a karst tunnel of about 1 kilometer. So you have a gap of the water of this on the surface. So we have some species downstream this point and some species upstream this point. So this is a Google Earth image. Here is a pin which marks the sinkhole, and here you can see a quite big dam. So this is the biggest dam. There are others, but they are smaller. This is the single one which is really a big dam. And here you can see a quite large reservoir. So this place is really interesting and also delicate because we have a very peculiar place, very close to a damaged area. So we paid a visit to the sinkhole. It's a quite scary place, to be honest, Um, Here you can see a video.
Oh, wow.
So, as you can see here, the river starts to flow in between the rocks, and then it simply disappears in a karst tunnel. As you can see, this is impossible for most fish species to cross. And then I had an initial hypothesis that the fish species upstream would be different from the downstream community. So we started to make some collecting trips to the upper portion of the Rio Correntes base. So upstream, the sinkhole.
Hey, Luis, real quick,
Yeah.
your video froze, and so we're not. What are you on right now? Okay, there you go. Yep, it's good now.
So this place is quite interesting. I found some, just to mention, which I think is important. I found some caves in the sinkhole area, and as we know, these karstic formations, they are very, very important to this kind of habitat, because it's quite common to find caves in these areas. And I found water inside one of the caves. I have no permits or training to enter a cave, but I think we may found some species within this cave, especially fish species, of course, I want to find. So our next plan is to call the experts in caves to visit this place, because it's quite seems likely to think that we will have at least one species of fish there in that single cave I found. This area you can see here is it's just upstream the dam, so you have a big lake. This is the most damaged place of the river we found. It's the place with the most influence of the dam. So here you have now a big lake where the river was a normal river, running river with rocky bottom and fast water. Now you find it like a big lake. So it's really important to mention that these kind of changes in the habitat, they will likely change the residents there, of course. So here you can see that we have a pretty uniform habitat, right? And we also have some quite preserved sites, like this one. So we have here examples of streams we can find there, like this one. So very different formations, as you can see. Here we can have a temporary pool in which we found interesting species. I'll show you everything later. So this is the most common appearance of the streams of the river. So you can see the clear water. The water is generally cold, and the habitat is generally quite complex, to be honest. So you can see a lot of aquatic vegetation, and the places are really full of fishes. And we also have these run-ins and rapids and several waterfalls. So here you can see these rocky bottom places and also waterfalls. You can see several waterfalls, and we have very different sites. And these places are quite far from the damming area. Here are tributaries, basically, of the Rio Correntes. More places, as you can see here. So we have a quite rich diversity of habitats and obviously of fish species here. So you can find most of the species we captured. Some of them we still need to get good pictures in live. I will present them by groups. So here you can see two of the characins we have there, two new species of Astyanax. This one is very distinct species with this longitudinal stripe here, and it's quite easy to recognize it. And this one is also easy to recognize because it presents really red fins and a greenish body. These are two new species easily found there. Here you can see a new Hyphessobrycon we also find there. So you can see here some difference from between male and female, especially the anofin and dorsal fin are slightly different. You can see these white marks here in the fins. They are very small, and they are always like this, pale like this. This species is really, really restricted, so you can only find it in very specific places. We now have enough material to provide a good description of it. All of the species I'm presenting here, which are new, we are working on them to describe them in the next years. So you see soon, I hope. Here we have three Carassidian species. The first one is in between a very big taxonomic problem, which is the zebra complex. It's a very difficult problem to solve, and we hope to have it solved in a near future. So we can possibly split this form from the true zebra, which is if I remind well, it's from Ecuador, I guess. So it's obviously not the same thing. This is a very, very interesting species also found there, which is quite similar to Carassidium laterale, but it's a big species, very different from it. So we also considered it as new. This one is a Carassidium chicoi. It's a dwarf species of Carassid. It's really, really small, and it's only found in the Rio Correntes so far. So it was described in a couple of years ago, and it's basically one of the first species described from the Rio Correntes as endemic. Here you can see the single species of Leporinus we found there. It's also a new species. As you can see here, we could take photographs in life of the early stages and also of the adults. In the reproduction period, they get these ventral fins, especially pectoral and pelvic, really, really orange. So it's really beautiful. And here is a very, very small specimen. And you can see, thanks to this work, we can also provide the ontogenetic information of these species. So we photographed almost everything we captured. You can see the small pacus, as we call them. This is Metynnis, possibly maculatus. Here you can see the male with this elongated dorsal fin, and the females with the regular dorsal fin. And also we can find some small differences in anofin, especially with these small expansions in anofin. So this is a very common species there. You can find it in very big numbers in the main channel of the river. Here, a quite interesting species because we found it different from the regular Australis. It's always like this. Dorsal fin only presents some small black parts here, not that typical dark solid blotch in dorsal fin, and also these red dots here. So the experts in Brazil, they also considered it as something different, and then we are calling it CF Australis for now, but it's likely to be a new species. Here's Oplias, of course, it's everywhere, as you know. Obviously not easy to provide a specific ID, but we found this only species there. They are quite common in the region. They can get really big, as you know, and it's what we found to be one of the top predators of the Correntes system. This one is a Siphocarex, new species. This is, I'm really proud to present this species for you because this is the first species I am personally describing with the aid of the OCA grant. So this species is already accepted for publication in the journal we called Copaea, but change it to ichthyology and herpetology. It's a quite traditional journal in zoology, and we have it accepted for publication. So this is the first species described after the Gene Smith Fund. So I'm really proud to say to you that this small guy, endemic, will be described thanks to you. Thank you very much. Here we have two very, very small guys. We have a Nucleus pterodon, which is a tiny but very common species. You can see here the male, which is pretty smaller than female and have this modified pelvic fin. They have generally that clear pattern, but sometimes they can present some bars here, some black vertical bars on body. This is possibly endemic also. This guy is also endemic. Melanorevolus dapazi. Here you can see the male pattern. It's a quite beautiful killifish. This is the female. This guy is really common there, as this one. So these guys can be found in large numbers there. But I must say, these are very sensitive. So from all the species from the Correntes, I think these guys will not fit very well the aquarium hobby. They're very sensitive. These ones are nearly immortal. And this, of course, I cannot forget about the new cichlid we found there. This is a new species of Aequidens we found in the Rio Correntes. It's very, very interesting and different species of Aequidens. It's now under description. We found it very different from the species known from the Paraguay basin, which is Aequidens plagiozonatus, which we found in other sites. I'll show some pictures here. These guys are generally green, like you can see here, but we often found them blue, with blue scales. It's not that uncommon to find them, and they have also here. This picture is not really making justice for them, but they have an orange region here in the operculum. It's really beautiful. This species can get quite big. This guy here was the biggest specimen we found. It was about 15 centimeters. Standard length, so excluding the tail. So here it was a quite big guy. They can get this pointed snout, and they seem really aggressive. We placed some traps in the river with meat, and they entered the traps for meat. So there seemed to be quite a predator there. Here you can see the regular Aequidens we can find in the region with the short snout and typical pattern with these bars, these black markings here. This is very common and you can find them everywhere. This is also a very common species, the Cranicical lepidota. You can see a very big spot here in the red area here. It's a very common species there, to be honest. They can get quite big, and they are also one of the top predators, the natural predators of the river, because we have some intruders there also. Here is Satanoperca, which is also a new species, but this is not endemic. It's everywhere in the Rio Paraguay basin. We called it the Papa Terra for a long time, but some colleagues reviewed the genus, and the species from the upper Rio Paraguay basin are something different from the Papa Terra. So this would be named in the near future, I guess. And we also found these guys, which I consider to be the second most important problem of the region. This is, as you can see, a baby cicla, and they are, as you know, not from the upper Rio Paraguay basin. They are a species from the Amazon, and some guys, they like to fish them, and they start to spread them everywhere just to fish them. It's a very, very bad idea, because they were able to almost destroy a very big part of the river right now. They are everywhere in a very small part of the river, but where they are, there is nothing else, basically. They are very aggressive, as you know, and they reproduce like rabbits. Here is Eigenmannia Correntes, also an endemic species from the region. It's a very beautiful and tiny knife fish, very yellow, as you can see here. It's a very beautiful species. It's basically one of the only knife fish of the entire basin. Here is so far the only calictidae of the whole basin, which is Megalechis toracata. This was a very big specimen with almost 20 centimeters. It's a quite big monster, as you can see, and curiously the only calictidae from the Holy River Basin so far. These are what I think to be the most promising species from the hobby. We have found 3 new dwarf species of Hypostomus there. Here you can see Hypostomus sp3. It's like a jaguar or something like that with this spot pattern. They're very beautiful, and the adults are very small. The males present very spiny plates. It's really, really beautiful. As you can see, the belly is really beautiful pattern, as you can see here. And they're small, which is something really interesting if you know how Hypostomus can get in the aquarium. So they are very beautiful, and I really think they can reach the hobby. This is the other one with this triangular head. The pattern is also similar, but the body is elongated, and they present not so dark pattern. They're very common there. They are also small. We found them in large numbers. We also have this one, which is also a small species. They can reach, I guess, the maximum size was 12 or 13 centimeters. So it's a quite small species, which I think to be quite perfect for the hobby. This guy presents a pretty big mouth full of teeth. So we found them. It's a slender-bodied species, so you can find it in the rocky bottom with fast-flowing waters. This is the single Ancistrus species in the region, also new species and endemic. Almost the whole year, it's entirely solid black. And in some part of the years, they can get these quite faded spots, and then they disappear in other periods of the year. So it's a very interesting species with a huge mouth, as you can see here. So it's a very interesting species. I think it's like a miniature of ranunculus, something like that. It's a very small species of Ancistrus. We are trying to breed them in captivity, but it's a very shy and difficult species to breed. This is the other part of what I want to say to you. We are starting to make some experiments to breed them in captivity. Not only these Ancistrus, but we tried other species like the Aequidens, the new Aequidens, and we have quite good success with the Astyanax species. We reproduced them easily in captivity. This is our Tatia, very small, Ochanipteridae. It's a very beautiful species. It seems to be something similar to Navi, but the caudal pattern is quite different with these white spots. So it's basically what make you recognize Navi, which are these dark bars. So here you can see white spots and not dark bars. So we think maybe it could be something different. This is Pimelodella, which is very difficult to provide an idea, but they are very beautiful and they are quite restricted in the river. We can find them in very specific places. It's a very small species. We have been in touch with the expert to provide an idea, but thanks to the pandemic situation, we are having problems to meet in person. So some works are for I think 3, 4, 5 years in the future. But we have most of these species I showed you. We have solid material and we are describing them. So some of them will be for near future, I hope. We have more 2 catfishes here. Hamja. This was reviewed in a very interesting paper recently. So we call them all Callan, but obviously they are not Callan. So we are waiting for the expert to provide a proper ID for them. For now, they are basically called AFF Callan, so something similar but different from Callan. This is Setopsorangia, which seems to be E. herringi, which is the single species from the Rio Paraguay basin, but we could find them only in a single stream, and we never captured it besides this single stream. They're quite strange, so we are making this CF here right now just in case. And here, what I consider to be the most interesting and important discovery, it's a new species and genus of Heptapteridae. This is also under description. We will publish, I hope, soon in the next year. And this guy is really, really interesting because there is nothing else like this in the whole basin. Not only considering the Rio Correntes, but considering the Rio Paraguay basin as a whole, there is nothing like this. It seems like a Chinese dragon. They swim really beautifully. It's also a species which will certainly fit the hobby, but it's a quite restricted species. So we need to know if it's a least concerning species before providing any verdict on it. But it surely is a beautiful species. Here you can find a pretty beautiful video of the most beautiful and interesting place of the whole Upper Rio Correntes basin, and which is the type locality of that new Ancistrus. I'll show you here. As you can see, It's a pretty beautiful place, a cave-like structure, and that Ancistrus is basically found only there. So it's a really, really important site for me, and I really love to share it with you. Um, these are the people working with me. So you're not helping only me, not changing only my life, you're changing the life of at least these 7 guys here. So as you can see, we are pretty happy to visit this place. And thanks to you, this was possible. As you know, the situation in Brazil is not friendly right now for scientists. These are the guys working with me to describe this bunch of new species. We have a lot of work to do. And thanks to you, we have now what I consider to be a good amount of material and data to provide these descriptions. So here, I really want to thank you, not only the Ohio Cichlid Association, who've granted most part of the funds to these expeditions, but from the other partners who helped me with donations, general help, articles, photographs, and everything. These are really dear people for me, and especially the OCA because you funded most of the collecting trips we did. So, really, thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to say that um, in Brazil, we are facing a very delicate time right now. And basically, I can only continue my work because of people like you. And this is a quite serial thing. I don't know if you have this in mind that you are making my work possible. This is not by any means an exaggeration. It's reality. Without your help, this everything you saw here would be impossible. So I really thank you because this changed my life and it made me possible to take care of my family and do what I think I was born to do. So really, it's really sad to me not be in person to say how thankful I am. But I hope you, my words can reach you, and I wanted to know that this is something really, really important to me, and the OCA was obviously mentioned in this accepted article, and I will mention you several times because thanks to you, everything we did was possible. So thank you very much for this.
Well, do you guys have any questions for Luiz? He can hear you clearly if you just stand up or ask him.
Very excellent presentation.
Thank you. I want to say something important. If you want to know more about a specific species, I can send you more information personally if you want, because we have more. Of course, we have more photographs. We have some video records of them. If you want to know more about one of them, it would be a pleasure to present you. About the cichlid, I know you are quite passionate by cichlids. This Aequidens, it's surely a species that you can reach easily because it's certainly an least concerning species. When I say this, I'm talking about the UCN category. And so the new laws in Brazil, they will allow you to have any least concerning species. So all least concerning species we have here are available for the hobby. We also, I must say, although that we have no no market here in the Upper Rio Paraguay Basin for most species. I don't know why, because we have quite beautiful species here. And basically, I think if you ask for more fishes from this region, maybe they can get started in the region here, because we are not really traditionally exporters, to be honest. And it's really a shame, because the species, they can get recognized when they are exported and important, like the Ancistrus zebra, for instance. We have it as a very important species, and we have them known by even people that doesn't work with fish. So it's really important, this kind of propaganda. And I really think you would like to see some of our species in person, and I guess the hobby would be impressed, I think, because we always think about the Amazon, but we found very beautiful species outside the Amazon too. So it's something I consider to say to you, that maybe pay a visit someday to Brazil when things are better. Um, I think I have the ways to take you to some of these sites to visit in person, if you like someday. So you see for yourself how beautiful the species of this region are.
We want more. You said ask, we're asking.
Yeah, we have. I have been receiving some visits from Hans Evers, for instance. I have. I'm waiting Stephen Grant also, and well, it would be a pleasure to take you, some of you there, if you wish. And yes, I plan to do more works, and maybe if you like this kind of work, we have many more places to visit, many more sites to go. So yes, I think we have much more to discover. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that'd be
Regina and
amazing.
I will make plans.
And please don't forget to invite me next year, because next year I can go, and I think I have more 7 years of my visa, so we can we have more, at least 7 years to enjoy my visa.
Hopefully everything works out next year. That'd be amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you so much. All right, Luiz, you have a good evening, and I'll make sure you get a copy of this talk.
Thank you.